And today, so we are going to speak about AI chatbot, how to create smart conversation and leverage your enterprise CMS. My name is Samuel. I'm digital marketing expert at One Inside, and today I'm with my colleague Clemens. Clemens, can you introduce yourself, please?
Okay. So also welcome from my side. My name is Clemens Blumer and I'm software architect at One Inside, and I'm responsible for the whole chatbot and AI subjects.
The topic today, chatbot. Maybe Clemens, you can start by explaining to us what is a chatbot.
Okay, so I guess you've seen already on many websites these small buttons on the bottom right, and behind that is a chatbot. So if you click on it, window opens, you get the output area where messages come out, and below in the bottom you can type in something. So I guess you know that, and everybody is used to that nowadays already.
Yes. So a chatbot is this little window at the bottom of the website. And but you mentioned something about different kind of chatbots, right?
Yes, exactly. So if you click on this small button, you don't know exactly what you're expecting or what will come out, because the window which opens can be different kind of chatbot. So first of all, there can be these rule-based chatbots. The second group is rather human to human, so it's a live chat, and the third group is the AI chatbot. So as a user, you don't know what you really get. So the expectation and the result after clicking the button can be quite off.
Okay, so can you elaborate maybe the different categories? So you mentioned rule-based. What is exactly a rule-based chatbot?
Okay, so if you have a rule-based chatbot, it's rather strict. So the developer and the business people plan the journeys, so the discussions, the dialogue, how they should go. So often you are also restricted to use buttons. You get some question and you just have 2 or 3 options to choose off.
Okay.
And then you follow a strict rule-based journey through the whole dialogue.
Okay, so me as a user, when I see this chat window where they offer me options and I cannot really ask questions, it's more a rule-based chatbot.
Yes, exactly. Then normally it's a rule-based chatbot.
Okay. Live chatbot, I guess, is not a chatbot in fact, because there is no bot.
Exactly. So if it's a live chat, then a human operator sits on the other side of the conversation. So it's really a operator, an agent who is answering the questions and is reacting to you. That's a nice thing. If depending on the environment where you are, you can talk to a human like with a call center, but you are not disturbing other ones, for instance.
Okay.
For instance, if you're traveling in the train, it's nice, you just have a chat with a real human operator and it works.
Great.
So that's the second group of chat that you can get.
And now the third group, the group where we'll focus more today, is AI, so artificial intelligence chatbot. So can you define what is that?
Exactly. So the AI chatbot tries to imitate the live chat as much as possible. So you get the full flexibility. As a user, you can enter your questions in your own language. So you're not restricted to some given rules. You really can use the language you like to, so your natural language.
Okay.
And it is also a machine, so it's always there for you. That's a nice thing.
Okay, great. So there are these 3 kind of group of chatbot: rule-based, AI chatbot, and the third one, which is not a chatbot but just a messaging or messenger application, this live chat. Right. But me now, let's speak about the end user. So me as a user of a website, I'm used to go on my bank website or insurance website and start to use the chat to communicate with the company. So I don't really care what is behind. So can you elaborate from a user perspective, from a user experience perspective, what are the differences, what is good, what is best?
Okay, of course. So as an end user, like already mentioned, you don't know what comes up, what pops up if you click on this small chatbot icon, but you also don't care because you got your personal request that you like to get answered. If it's a rule-based one, you're really restricted to the language of the website, so how it was planned, and maybe you use different terms for expressing yourself, and you even don't understand what they like to get from you. So it's quite strict, and there's no natural language inside. So for the end user, that's not the current situation he likes to have. He wants really to behave like in ordinary life.
Yes.
Then we got the human chat, so the live chat. So there you got this component of the natural language inside. But of course, as a operator, as a company, you have the drawbacks that you really need a team of operators.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge workload, a huge cost, and it doesn't scale. I mean, you can't just put from now to next additional operators. That does not work. You also need to train all these operators, so it's a really big effort. We know that from call centers, so that makes sense to do it that way. But for the chat, if there are parts which can be automized, of course, it's quite nice. Another drawback from the human chat is normally you got these peaks where users send their requests, and you need to scale the whole operation for these peaks.
Yes.
And if you don't know when this peak happen, it's quite hard to do the scaling with humans behind it.
And also as a user, I mean, it's nice to speak with a human, as I'm doing right now with you. Yeah. But for sure, if I'm asking a question, I don't know, in the middle of the night, or if the company is not in the same time zone than I am, maybe my question might be unanswered with a live chat.
Yes, exactly. So you can have really these delays that the operator is not there, and moreover, you also have the problem that depending on the operator, the answers will not be exactly the same.
Yes.
Because it's a human, so the way they act is individually for each one.
And so about the AI chatbot, the advantage for the user?
So the advantage for the user is it's always reachable, and he can use the natural language. Plus, he gets a consistent answer. So that's also an advantage for the company operating the whole chatbot. They can put in place the answer always consistent the same way.
Yes, and also just when you say natural language, if I understand correctly, it means I can ask something in my own way.
Yes, exactly. So you can ask it in your own way. So you can use the terminology that you like. And you also can always ask whatever you like to.
Yes.
So you are not restricted to follow some path.
Yes, right. So, and now for the company, so we already mentioned already some of the advantages for a company, but let's be more specific about the AI chatbot. What are the advantages of AI chatbot for a company?
Okay, so as a company, beside this scaling, which we already mentioned, it's of course to stay in touch with the customer. So for the customer, the more channels you can offer, the more pleasant it is. So some customers like to call in, other ones like to use a chatbot, even other ones like to use the website and search for the stuff on it, or use some FAQs. So you don't know which kind of customers you have, and if you offer more channels, the chance to get in touch with the customer is much higher.
Right.
Additionally, for the AI chatbot, as it's really a customized solution, you can have a seamless integration. So this means that the chatbot is not just an add-on on the website, it's a part of your website, and you can keep up with your whole corporate identity, but also benefit from everything around. So yes, all your third-party systems and business APIs and so on. Moreover, as we said already, the customer can ask whatever he wants. So he can also ask stuff which he maybe would not ask a human operator. And thanks to that, you can learn about the customer. So you can then automate and optimize the whole chatbot, but also from business perspective, you learn what are really the needs of your customers.
Yes, and this I think is one of the greatest benefit of AI chatbot, as you can really build this conversation with your customer. They start asking questions, And you, as a marketing manager, you can collect all these questions, and this is really is gold, because you know what your customers are looking for, you know what are their issues, you know what are their pain points, you know the trend, and then you can also leverage all this knowledge accumulated to maybe create more content marketing around the question asked by your customer, or you can even forward all the questions to your product manager or sales manager to really build offerings and products that really are aligned with your customer expectation. For me, it's really one of the greatest benefits. I just prepared one slide with a list of all the benefits, advantages of AI chatbots. So I will go through them again. So always available, as we said, both never sleep, scalable. Is yes, of course, more conversation you have, you don't need more bots, because of course you can handle multiple conversations at the same time. It's getting smarter over time, so it's learning from the questions. And this is not the case with rule-based, because they're quite, let's say, predictable. So once you set up a path or a story, you are fixed. More flexible, you can integrate them in your website. You can have a coherent branding experience. We will show you later an example we have done for one of the largest insurance company in Switzerland. Really nice boat, really nicely integrated. One point as well, data ownership and security. The way we implement AI chatbot, you can as well run all the logic, let's say, at your premise. So usually when you go for a rule-based, it's in the cloud, so here you don't really know where your data are. With our solution, you can run them at your premise. You can integrate as well with core system, of course, because yes, it's also the key part that you leverage other data source and that you understand, you give more context to the conversation. So when a user is coming, asking a question, you might identify him and really personalize the experience. Conversation analytics is what I said, really great advantage. I mean, you know what your customers are asking is really key for your business. And finally, it's enterprise grade. I mean, these solutions are really more for enterprise, and maybe here you can mention something here as well about enterprise grade.
Yes, of course. So as an enterprise, you got these environments normally which are more complex. So you need a customized and flexible integration in most cases. You also pay more attention to keep up your corporate identity. So that's an important thing. You don't like to have just some framework as a pop-up on your website. So this doesn't look nice. And yeah, if you do this enterprise grade solution, of course, it's also about the maintenance of the whole system. So it's not a one-time shot. You really need to maintain afterwards also the chatbot.
Yes. And about enterprise, so here's a nice example of what One Insight has done for CSS Insurance. If you're not from Switzerland, CSS is one of the largest insurance company in Switzerland. So we have built a great AI chatbot for them. If you want to have a look, it's online, so it's not a demo. We really build like a productive chatbot. You can go on css.ch. For the moment, it's only available in German, but you can have a look. You can try the chatbot. You will see how nicely it's integrated and how it will react to your questions. And also more about this project. So I don't want to do a full use case or case study about this project, but for the ones that are interested, it was integrated with Adobe Experience Cloud. So we are using Adobe Experience Manager IM as the CMS of css.ch. Our chatbot solution is linked with the CMS. We will show you a demo in a few minutes how it works. So the chatbot is integrated in the backend. Also, we leverage Adobe Analytics and Adobe Target in this project to bring more personalization experience into the chatbot and overall in the website. So yes, One Insight, we are Adobe experts in Switzerland here, and we have done many other great projects, but it's not the topic today. Today we focus more on how to build a chatbot, how to start chatbot project. And that's why, Clemens, now maybe you can elaborate a bit. What are the project steps? Can you explain now how to, from A to Z, how to build a chatbot?
Yes, so let's go through the steps for building a chatbot. So first of all, you should start with the problem analysis. So you should there be really open, make a brainstorming and see what problems do you like to solve, what problems are around. And this, if you are going really broad, you should get many use cases. After that, if you decide, okay, we have really these many use cases and we like to do a chatbot, you should go to the next step and define the scope. So you should make a prioritization, which use cases do you like to implement, give added value for the end customer, and you can build up a minimal valuable product for them. So that's the critical part. If you plan to implement the whole idea, so everything that you have in mind, you will never end with it. So it will be a project which is not plannable at all. So you really should define a smaller scope which has added value for the customer, and then you can start with implementing the project. So if you know your scope, you move on to the architecture and the technology. So that's the point where you start to think about what frameworks to use, what environments I have to integrate, and so on. So that's the typical stuff you do for all these website projects or projects in general. Afterwards, it's really about the implementation, so you can start with your development. There also try to get up the basis for the whole system as soon as possible, that you can really get the impression, how does the chatbot work, how does it feel if you use it. Then as a next step, so the final step, if everything is implemented and of course also tested, you can go to the go live, so the big day, and you will see how the users use your chatbot, if the expectations you had match with the reality. So the go live of the chatbot is also a critical moment, because you don't know what the users really will ask. So it's important that you stay tuned then and maintain the chatbot. So don't push it, just go live and go to vacation. Really try to optimize the chatbot. And this brings us to the last part. So a chatbot is a thing which you need to maintain heavily. It's not a one-time shot. You really, after go live, need to optimize the AI, but also the content which you deliver to the end user.
Yes, and this is really an interesting point, because optimization is really where we got a lot of questions from you. I mean, it's really unclear yet how a chatbot is managed and maintained. People think that AI is magic, and that's, yes, you just turn it on and then it's living forever like this. So we also would like to give you more understanding on how you could operate as a marketing manager, how you could operate a chatbot. So can you go more into detail here, Clemens, really explaining how content is created and how this whole system is working?
Okay, so let's have a really high-level look on the process, how the chatbot managed to give an answer to customer questions. So the visitor asks some question, and what happens then with that is that the AI analyzes this question and finds out the intention the user has. And afterwards, after we know the intention, we can deliver some answer to the end user. But to get that working, the AI does not make that out of magic. So what happens before is that some authors give some examples, so some story examples, what the user could ask. Mm-hmm. And out from that, the AI learns the intention. So the author provides the questions and to which intention they map. If the AI system learned the whole stuff, he's able also to predict unseen questions. So it's not restricted only to the example, it's more flexible than that. So what the AI does is to predict the intention, but the content in itself, so the response, must be defined by an author. So also there, the author needs to write down the text that we like to show to the end user.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, and I will say it with my own words, so as a as an author or editor or marketing manager, I should first feed the bot with training questions. Like, I already have an idea of what kind of question my customer might ask, so I can start to feed him with questions. So I have a lot of questions, and then I use this question and I link them to intent, right? So if somebody is asking something about, I don't know, an invoice, so I can redirect him to this story or to this answer, right? And then the AI part will be here to really, when you or when me as a end user or as a customer, I ask a question, the AI will understand basically the question and redirect to the right answer.
Yes, exactly. So the AI really does this bridging between your natural language and the intention.
Okay.
So that's the part where the AI is working in.
Okay. And so the point now is like, where is a link with my website? Because when you think about a chatbot, you can really see it as something decoupled from your website, something that can be basically just embedded in the website, but it can be anywhere. So why it is really important to have the chatbot integrated with your content management system?
Okay, so why should you integrate it in the content management system? First of all, you need to optimize the AI over time. So you need to label additional data, because if it's really used, you will see that your bot will not be able to answer all questions. So you need to retrain it and relabel it. For that, normally not technical people are doing it, but it's the authors, so the editors, which are in charge of that. And the tools which they use is normally a content management system. But that's only half of the story. The other part is that when you get insights about your customers, you like also to create new stories and also to update the stories you have already. And there you provide the answers on the website. So the chat is on the website, and therefore it makes sense to use a content management system, because the responses that you give is content.
Right.
And often it's also content which you don't use only in the chatbot, but which is also used on other locations on the website, because you don't start from zero. You've got already a website where plenty of information is on it, but the user just likes to use a different channel to get it.
So basically you can display in the bot, instead of telling him, go on this page and have a look, you can just display a fragment of the content that is somewhere else. Like, I'm asking, like, how do I, what is the address to send my bill? And then you can just grab this fragment of content and display this is the address. And this piece of content is as well somewhere else on the page located. And then when the editor changes in the backend the content, it's changed for the chatbot, it is changed as well for the website. So it's changed everywhere.
Yes, exactly. It's really about this maintenance of the whole system, that we want to make it as easy as possible. So in all belongings, AI and content. And moreover, it's also, if you use these external frameworks, you don't have a visual interface where you see how it will look on the website in the end. And authors are used to see how it will be presented to the end user, so to the visitor, which is an important part of the whole story, because if you just type in text, you don't know exactly how it will look in these bubbles, and if you have 5 bubbles, will it be a nice impression for the end user or not? So the visual aspect is really important.
Yes. Great. So now we will move to a demo, because I think it's also better when you really see how the solution, because we have built a solution leveraging AI framework. So we have built a chatbot, and this chatbot is integrated in one content management system called IEM. So it's a content management system of Adobe. You might be familiar with this one. And just one point about that is that why we build it within IEM, because one inside we are Adobe partner and we are a lot of expertise in this field. However, while I'm sharing my screen, maybe you can explain that the logic behind can also be plugged.
Yes, of course. So we implemented that for IEM, like Samuel already mentioned, but the principles behind, of course, could be applied to any CMS. If you do it with AM, you also can benefit from all the features which AM offers. What we will show in the demo is the weekend website, which is the demo website of AM CMS, and also how we integrated the management of the chatbot in the backend. So let's start. What we have is over here, we have the website, so the weekend website, that's a demo website of AM. And what we did is we added this tiny chatbot icon to it, so as a component. And so let's start it, and we get this typical chatbot window which opens, and we get welcomed. And what the user does is to type in a question. For instance, do I have an open bill? And he gets immediately the response that he wants to get. So that's the usual thing that the chatbot does. So what happened in the background? So we have this question which is sent to our framework, so AM, and there we hand it over to our natural language understanding unit, which gives us the intention that the user has. And if we have this intention, we can send then out the response for it. For doing that, we have the whole management in AM. So let's move over to the AM sites. And what you see is that beside the typical tree structure we have for the website, we got also a part for our chatbot. So we got here this webinar chatbot of today, and I will show mainly today the intention part. There are also other features, but let's focus on that for today because of the time. What we saw is that we ask for open bill, and there is an intent for handling the open bill questions. So if we go to that, we see that we can manage here everything which is needed for handling the AI, optimizing it, but also if we go down, we have the look and feel of the whole journey. So how does it look if I ask this question? How do look my answers? Should I use two bubbles? And so on. So for the author, that's quite easy to see how it works like. So that's the way it works. If now the user doesn't use the terms which we thought of, so in reality he asks maybe something different. So let's go back here, and he, instead of talking about bill, he just says, I got an accounting question. And what happens is the system doesn't know how to answer that. And for our operators in the background, we have a dashboard where they can see all the training data. So if we switch to this training data dashboard, let's just reload it. We see now that here we have this accounting question and that it triggered the fallback. So this means so far the system doesn't know how to handle it. So it's not enough sure to answer it. And as an operator, we can now assign it to the right intent. So we just do that here and just save it to that intent. And then it also gets added. We just synchronize the whole stuff, and so easily the system is optimized. So if we go back and just type it again, we see that we get the answer already. So that's for the normal job which the operator needs to do. He needs to maintain the AI. So this was the first part where the operator is involved in. And there it's really about to keep it as simple as possible for the author. And therefore we designed this dashboard which also can be customized. So you can filter it but we can also implement specific use cases that the operators have a really fast and easy journey. Okay, so now we got this answer here, but of course normally on the website all this information is already somewhere available. In our case, we got here these FAQs, and we see, okay, here the answer for open builds is already given. And we also can see that it's about the customer portal plus to call in for asking questions. But on the chatbot, by mistake, we showed that they should write the email.
Yes.
So this happened because the content is not shared.
Yes.
And in AM there are content fragments, so what you can do is to share the content from website and chatbot. So if we go back to this intent, we can go and add instead of the answer that we have here. So we just remove that. And also this one. And we just say we got our FAQ message and we share the content that we have already on the website. So that's now specific for AM, but most CMS offer something like that. And we see here is this open builds content. A benefit from that is also that we only share the content but not the look and feel. So the way we present it on the website and the chatbot still can differentiate. Mm-hmm. So let's pick this one. And we immediately see how it looks like. So if I go now to the chat again and just ask again for the accounting, we get this shared content which is the same on the website and the chatbot.
Yes, great.
Okay. So yes, so that was the important parts that we wanted to show in our content management for chatbot implemented in AEM. And let's move forward.
Yes, of course. I mean, also, this is we cannot show you everything from all the features implemented. You can integrate as well with forms or other element of your website. But I guess it gave you already a kind of understanding about how you can operate a bot from the backend. And so next step is, yes, we will have one last slide and then we will move on to your questions. So a key takeaway is like multi-channel is key to attract customer and to build long-term loyalty. You already know that. We are not here to tell you that you need to do that. Today we are here to explain how you could do it. And we believe that AI chatbot is the right channel to leverage. Why? It understands natural language of your customer. You get insights from the conversations, and these are really a great information. And also you can have a unified content approach with our solution. Great, so now we will move on to the questions. We already saw, we got already questions from you by email, but first we'll answer the ones that are in the chat. Can we personalize the chatbot and the answer?
Okay, so that's now specific for AM. So as we integrated the whole system, so not only the management of the chatbot, but also the answering, so the whole logics in AM, we can benefit of all AM features. So the personalization that we do on the website, we can also apply in our answers that we give. So we use these components as a answer for the intents, and these we can personalize with the same way that we do it for the website.
Great. Second question. How does this AI bot solution differ from a traditional search which was tuned with additional features? Interesting question.
Okay, so if you go to search, it's really just a a one step, so it's a one shot. The user asks a question and you give him a list of search results. So these are the pages which you have on the website. If it's about the AI bot, the user can ask the question, and you as an operator, you also can re-ask a question to the end user. For instance, if you don't are sure what he likes to know. If we make an example, if he asks something about a product that you have, he just mentions the product name and you don't know, does he like to buy the product? Does he need support for it? Or what is really the intention he has? Then you can re-ask back to the user what is his intention. So give him the options to answer it. You can guide him a little bit. And with that, you get him to the right location where he gets the response for his request.
Okay, great. We will anyway also follow up with you and we can go deeper in all your questions. We can also do a personalized demo if you like. So we are here to give you all the information. So next question is about, can you brief about the technology stack or architecture in terms of technology, how it is integrated to IAM?
Okay, so basically what we build for managing the chatbot in AM is all with standard features from AM. So we use the concepts of the components, we use the normal storage behind it. So that's all, nothing changed. For the AI part, we use an external framework. So in our case, it was now Dialogflow, but in principle, you can attach any natural language understanding system that you like to have. So there's some flexibility.
Great. We will move on to the other questions that were asked offline. So we got some questions from you. So can we use a chatbot for sales and marketing automation? Of course, I mean, our use case here today was not a chatbot to do lead generation, but of course you can as well build your bot in a way that it will collect email information, contact information, and then you can plug it with your marketing automation or other content if you are using it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big advantage of this customized chatbot. You really can implement behind all processes that you like to have.
How to handle confidential data. So here is about, I think, about authenticated versus anonymous, right?
Okay, so if you deliver content to the end user, you should of course follow the same principles that you do for the website. So if you like to show personal information to the end user, he should be authenticated. So he should log in like for the customer portal. But if he did that, of course it's free to you to show him information which is specific about this person.
Right. How to define the project scope. So here we had the look, but I would like to highlight one point is that really like you should come with your vision, what you would like to go, where you would like to go, what is next year plan, in 3 years plan. And then you know what is your vision and your goal. And then, as we said, it's better to start in, let's say, an MVP approach, starting with small use cases and building up more and more scenario on top of your chatbot. Next question, how to update the chatbot? We kept this question because even though we tried to explain that during the demo and the presentation, it would be great to explain again, Clemens, how to update or how the chatbot can learn.
Yes, exactly. So that was the main message of today. So the chatbot, to update it, there are two parts. So it's about the AI, so the natural language understanding that you need to optimize all time, which we integrated now to be handled in the AM CMS. And on the other side, it's about the content which the chatbot delivers. And there we followed also the principle to use the CMS and do everything inside there.
Yes. Next, and we are close to the end. Is it legal to reuse any conversation from your customer into the website? So this is really interesting question. I mean, of course, you won't just get the conversation and drop them on your website, but this is also one of the message. Like, learn from your questions, learn from the question of your clients, learn from that, and then of course reuse the content in a different shape, but build your content strategy based on what they are looking for. And another question, how big needs our knowledge database to be for such a project? So how can I start with a small database, or should I already invest a lot of effort in building up a lot of questions? What is the best approach?
Okay, so of course you can start with a huge collection, but normally we'll start with a small one. However, it's important that there is an added value for the end customer. If you can't answer the most common questions that your end user has, he will not see any added value, and he will use your channels or the chatbot only for once. So therefore, really try to analyze, when you define the project scope, what are the needs which the user has. So where do you got the overlap between your vision and the current needs of the user?
Yes. The last question, so how can we integrate the AI chatbot module for IM in our project? So this is really a specific question to IM. So here we can say a few things so it's a proprietary module, right? That
Yes,
we developed,
right.
And so if you would like to start a project with this module, I mean it's not open source, right? So basically we have this base framework that we integrate within your current installation, and then on top of that we will align it with your website look and feel. We will also build specific scenario for you, because maybe you need different kind of integration, correct?
Yes, exactly. So the whole module is not just an add-on, it really gets integrated into your CMS. So therefore you need to follow a specific project for that, and then we can implement that together and do all the development which is required. But there is already this base part which is already implemented, so we save a lot of time and we really can focus on the specific customization for the end customer.
Exactly. So we are coming now to the end of the webinar. We are really happy that you were all here and all your great questions. And our next step, our recommendation is to book a demo. I mean, now we show you a part of our solution. We try to really explain what is AI chatbot, what are the differences against other type of chatbot. If you're planning to do a project, let's have a chat. And let's book a call. We can show you a demo in more detail. We can understand what are your project needs and business specificities, and we can help you together. We can help you to move on together. Now it's the end. I mean, we are really happy that you were all here. Come back to me. You have my email address if you have more questions. And thank you again.